Greetings, ghosts and ghouls, and welcome to Bad Boo, a podcast conjured for the curious where we explore all things frights, flicks, and folklore.
We are your haunting hosts, Sam and Jodie, guiding you through every episode of occult exploration and holding your hand the whole way through.
So if you like the sound of spooks, screams, and symphonies, keep listening as we unravel our mystic matter for this week.
In today's episode, we'll be unwrapping the dark, hidden origins of Christmas and the secret, cheerless history behind it.
Yes, So this is our third Christmas episode.
It is.
Actually, out of them all.
So all of your trees should be up by now.
Yes, we are hoping that your decorations are all hanging up if you celebrate Christmas, or whatever you're doing. I hope you're having a merry time and that it brings you a lot of joy.
I know Thanksgiving just went by, so for those Americans out there, happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And I believe that Hanukkah's on the way as well, so happy Hanukkah.
Yeah, happy whatever it is you're celebrating.
Yes, happy celebrations for everybody around the world.
But as we are from a Christian place and we celebrate Christmas, this is what we will be focusing on for ourselves. So if you are ready to join us, then listen away. But as we start every single podcast episode,
the obvious question
to
start the night: what is Christmas?
What is Christmas? So Jodie, if you'd like to tell our lovely Bad Boot audience, what is Christmas?
So, for those of you that are listening, Christmas is a major global holiday and basically like a cultural phenomenon, essentially, that obviously takes place annually on December the 25th. It's traditionally a Christian festival, and in the modern era, it has evolved into a massive secular celebration of family, generosity, and like the quote-unquote holiday spirit that is recognized by billions of people around the world, regardless of their religious background.
I mean, it's quite self-explanatory that Christmas is absolutely massive culturally.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know what secular is, it basically represents everybody who isn't associated with a religion.
Yeah, because I myself am not religious, but very much always celebrated Christmas. It's always been a part of my life. It's always been a massive part of my upbringing and my family's upbringing.
Well, it's such a mainstream
as well
thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not
nowadays.
Like it's not necessarily like nowadays. It's very much not like, oh, you have to be religious to celebrate it. It's kind of like you say. It's kind of turned into about family, generosity, and that sort of holiday spirit, like we mentioned.
Well, obviously, that's how it is nowadays, and that's because in modern society it's primarily defined as like the exchange of gifts, which is why there's often a really heavy focus on retail and shopping, and like the legendary figures of like Santa Claus and Saint Nick or like Father Christmas are so popularized by companies and organizations who are profiting off of this holiday, essentially. Because it gets pushed and pushed and pushed every single year. Christmas gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
It really does.
And typically the celebrations usually center around like the home and family, so that people can gather for like festive meals. So tell us what you're having for your Christmas dinner this year.
Let us know in the comments.
Let us know in the comments.
Listening.
And often like the festive meals usually have like regional specialities. So they have like roast turkey or like gammon or ham or like mince pies or gingerbread, candy canes,
candy corns,
and syrup.
Little elf reference there.
Yeah, not the film that we're talking about today.
That isn't our Silver Scream this week, by the way.
It's not,
obviously. But yeah, I mean, they're kind of traditional meals that you would have at Christmas time, I suppose. But a lot of people go different at Christmas. I mean, my family's always sort of gone. It sort of changes every year. It's always been a different type of dinner. We
always used to get a McDonald's breakfast, and then we used to make our Christmas dinner at like 1 p.m.
Yeah.
So that we could eat by like 3 and have a really early dinner and then play board games and eat chocolate for the rest of the night.
That just sounds like a perfect Christmas to me.
Yeah.
I absolutely love Christmas.
That's what we used to do every year.
Obviously, decorating, that is a central part of the Christmas season. People often, fill their homes and public spaces with evergreen trees or just Christmas trees, as people know it. Multicoloured lights or warm-coloured lights, whatever type of Christmas lights.
Yeah, well, evergreen trees are known as Christmas trees now, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Because nobody ever calls them evergreen trees
No.
anymore.
Obviously, you have tinsels and wreaths, which are very common, and stockings that hung by the fireplace.
I wish
traditional
we had a
type
wreath.
of. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
That'd be really nice, wouldn't it?
Or people put those really fancy bows around their doors.
Yeah.
And people have like those really lovely like, I don't know what they're called, but like the wall mounted wreaths, like the long ones that will go on like the fireplace, or, like shelves.
Really, really beautiful.
Yeah, with the baubles and the tinsel and the pine cones.
But I mean, obviously, inside and outside and all the decorations, it's become like somewhat competitive, I suppose.
Yeah.
But the Christmas spirit, quote unquote, is like a widespread social theme, especially during the time of Christmas, which sort of emphasises sort of acts of charity and kindness and peace, I suppose, on earth, through community service and a lot of donation stuff that happens around Christmas. It's sort of like the end of the year, a lot of giving and stuff.
Yeah, well, it's all about like the lead up to Lent and stuff as well, isn't it? Yes. Obviously Lent is like using what you have and all that type of stuff. So I feel like this is like the helping others, and then as you go into like the start of the new year, then it's like using what you can to help yourself instead of trying to go and like buy new things and all those types of stuff. Yeah. So they're kind of like not contrasting holidays, but coinciding holidays.
Yes, they sort of coincide with one another.
But it's quite funny actually that people wait until Christmas to be kind and to be charitable.
We very much advocate being kind and charitable all year round,
all the time.
And we wish for a world where peace was certainly something that was advocated for
like
all the time,
all the year, instead of just on a singular day.
Yeah,
but it doesn't make it any less valid.
Yeah, absolutely.
But a big part of that is because of entertainment, really. That's one of like the huge main like charitable things, I suppose, because there's Band Aid and there's like all of the Christmas like shows that they put on.
Yeah.
And there's so many like tributes, all these different types of things always happen at Christmas. But that's where entertainment obviously plays a huge role in the modern experience of Christmas. And that's because there's Christmas music, there's Christmas films, public events, all of these types of things, and even light displays are even like obviously televised nowadays.
It's become part of pop culture almost, in like a weird way. And often in many countries the celebration of Christmas extends to Christmas Eve, so like the day before, and Boxing Day, which is the day after, on the 26th of December, creating like a very like a multi-day period of rest and festivity. So it's not just, I mean, the build up to Christmas, I think, really is the best, in my opinion. Like, it's sort of, I love the build up. It's stressful, but it's like nice. Christmas Eve is like my favourite day, I think. And
even for those people that are celebrating the more traditional side of Christmas from the Christian side of like faith, it's really like about like going to kind of church and having like midnight mass, or seeing the nativity scene being presented, like the birth of Jesus and the entire story of like Bethlehem and all those types of things, and like the frankincense and myrrh. What's the other one? Frankincense, myrrh, and
gold, isn't it?
Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Yes. Wow. Hooray. I grew up Roman Catholic. Sam's not even religious, and he knew that better.
It's because I played a shepherd in the nativity at school. Did you? Yeah.
I think I played a shepherd as well, because they didn't. I already wanted to be Mary, and I don't think they let me be Mary.
Yeah, I didn't get the role of Mary.
No.
Anyway, so that's kind of what Christmas is in a nutshell, I suppose. Christmas can be whatever you make it.
Sorry, it's just reminded me of that Vine. That went viral like years ago. It's from this, the really funny guy who like is sat in the car and he's like talking to himself, and he's like, don't take my hat, Spencer, and then he like turns around and his hat gets caught in the window as it goes up, and he does like karate moves to like get the person away. It was in that kind of same era. And there's another one, it's like, I bought you gold, and it's like how the nativity would have realistically gone.
Yes.
Because obviously Judas was like another story around that time. And it's like, I bought you frankincense, I bought you gold, and I bought you myrrh. He's like, oh, thank you. Murder. And then he takes his hood off and he's like, oh, Judas. It's really funny. Sorry, for those of you that don't know, go and watch that Vine. It's really, really funny.
I probably think Jodie's already losing her mind.
No, we'll see if we can leave a link to it in the description. But for those of you that are cultured enough to know what Vine I'm talking about, thank you.
Not just cultured enough to know of Vine. You know? But anyway,
going back to the origins of Christmas.
We are on to the origins of Christmas now. We know what Christmas is. What are the origins? Where does it come from? We talked a little bit about Jesus. We talked a little bit about Christmas trees. But where do all these ideas come from? That is the question.
Yeah, of course it is. And basically, the origins of Christmas are like a kind of complex like tapestry from different ancient agricultural festivals, primarily from like Roman politics and Germanic paganism, and the theologies that started the early Christian faith. So it's not really like a singular event, but it's been a centuries long process of like quote unquote Christianizing existing midwinter traditions.
Yeah, we've spoken a lot about like Christianizing in a few of our other episodes, that a lot of festivals and celebrations are often Christianized.
Yeah, well, it's what happened with Halloween, isn't it?
Yeah, that's probably what I was thinking about.
Not to say that it's a bad thing.
No. We love Christmas and I'm so glad it's here. But
of different like walks of life, and a lot of different like cultures obviously have their own interpretations of things, and like it just so happens that we're the largest population of religion in the world, I believe, is probably Christianity, because it's such a big umbrella.
As far as I'm aware,
I'm not sure on that, so don't quote me on that.
Yeah, if we're wrong, then obviously correct us. But
but it makes sense as to why it's become such a huge thing.
Oh yeah, it's worldwide celebrated, you know. But
just going into those
like
roots a little bit. Let's start with the ancient Roman roots, because that was like one of the first ones that we mentioned. So originally there was the most influential like precursor to Christmas. That's the radio version. The most like influential precursor to Christmas was actually something called the Saturnalia, which was held from December 17th to December 23rd, and it honoured Saturn, so the god of agriculture, and it was a week of like lawlessness essentially, and the role reversal where masters like served slaves, and businesses would close, and people engaged in like excessive feasting and gambling.
Interesting. Yeah.
But this is also where the tradition of gift giving came from, and that is because Romans would exchange small gifts like candles or clay figures to each other, essentially. And to like kind of carry on from this, specifically on December 25th, Romans then celebrated the, excuse my pronunciation, the Dies Natalis Solis Invicti, which is the birthday of the unconquered sun. Sun, S-U-N, as in like what's in the sky, not sun as in S-O-N, what it is nowadays.
Brother.
But this basically celebrated the winter solstice.
Winter solstice?
Happened on the 21st of December, so it's coming up.
Yep, so
very, very soon.
We actually did an episode on winter solstice.
We did. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. It's pretty good.
We talk about The Shining as well in that episode, so go and check it out.
But yeah, and like we did mention that episode, that obviously marks the point where the days begin to lengthen, and it signals the rebirth of the sun.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very interesting. I did like all these different, even kind of like versions of Christmas, I suppose, and like origins. It's interesting to see how all sort of started.
Well, it's not only the Romans actually, but like kind of like in a similar period, there was actually the cult of Mithras, who was like a sun god popular among Roman soldiers, but he also celebrated his birthday on December the 25th.
Greedy.
So that further like cements the date's association with like divine solar power.
Yeah. Or solar bills.
Yeah.
Nowadays, because a lot of our electricity bills are quite high with our Christmas lights, but we do with it, you know, because it's Christmas. And that's part of it.
Moving on, we then have the Germanic and Norse traditions, aka the Yule, which we did touch on in our last winter solstice episode, actually, because a lot of it comes from Germanic and Norse traditions.
Yes. So we'll go over a little bit again, but obviously if you want to listen to this in a bit more detail, then go and listen to our winter solstice episode, which is 2 episodes ago now. So Germanic people sort of celebrated the Yule from late December all the way through till January, and this was time to mark the return of the sun and the end of the darkest part of the year. Families would also probably bring home large logs, aka the Yule log, and set them on fire, and they would feast until the log burned out, which could take up to about 12 days. And each spark from the fire was believed to represent a new calf or pig that would be born in the coming year.
Oh, that's very sweet.
So again, there's a lot of things to do with like a new beginning and sort of having like a restart and celebrating life in some regards.
And that new calf or new pig would turn into your Christmas dinner for the next year.
Yes, and I think, it's recycling as in some ways, I suppose.
I am joking, by the way. I very much love baby animals, but
Yes.
I am also a hypocrite because I do love eating.
Do you love a lovely
meaty
roast dinner?
foods.
Yeah. In regards to the evergreen tree, because they remain green throughout the whole winter, plants like holly and ivy and fir trees were seen as symbols of life's persistence and were used to decorate homes to ward off evil spirits and the cold.
Ooh.
So that's why they're used. And Norse legend spoke of the god called Woden, aka Odin, flying through the night sky on an 8-legged horse during midwinter. And this wild hunt likely influenced the imagery of a magical figure travelling through the sky during the holiday, aka Father Christmas and whatnot. So that's quite cool.
I want to know what that 8-legged horse looks like. How does that even work?
Yeah, I mean, in some ways I don't want to know what that is.
Well, while we won't be talking about that, we will be getting a little bit more into the Christian adoption of the actual date. So, in the New Testament, it doesn't actually mention the date of Jesus's birth. So early Christians originally focused more on the Epiphany, which is the visit of the, I want to say Magi, or Easter, so the resurrection, rather than the actual nativity.
Yeah.
So then, by the 4th century, the church in Rome began celebrating the birth of Christ on December 25th. This was a strategic move made by Pope Julius I to quote-unquote baptize the Roman Saturnalia and Sol Invictus festivals, making it easier for pagans to convert while maintaining their familiar midwinter festivities. So it was kind of like he played them at their own game, to be fair. That's kind of like a bad way to do it.
Got played.
But this meant that Christians then justified the date by linking Jesus to the Son of Righteousness, like we just spoke about a second ago. And then since the days became longer after the winter solstice, it symbolized that the light of Christ was entering a new dark world. And then the first recorded date of Christmas was then being celebrated on the 25th of December in 336 AD in the early Roman calendar.
Wow,
which is crazy.
That's a long time ago.
And I still don't understand the
Christmas
ADs
calendar.
and the BCs and the
whatnot.
alphabets.
She doesn't understand the alphabet.
Yeah.
Go and do your schooling.
Yes.
And finally, for the origins, I suppose, in a roundabout way, it's
More
sort
of
of
the evolution side of things.
the evolution of how it sort of changed, sort of like the Middle Ages and beyond. By the Middle Ages, the holiday was known across England as the Christus Mass, so i.e. the Mass of Christ, and that's spelled like Christ ES and then MAESSE. It was a rowdy communal event that combined solemn church services with loud, drunken street parties. So kind of how people know it today in some celebrations, I suppose, in modern time. Where in medieval England, a Lord of Misrule was often appointed to preside over Christmas festivities, continuing the Saturnalia tradition of turning social hierarchies upside down. So there's a lot of tradition turning things on its head, sort of purging it in some ways. And in the 17th century, the Puritans in England and New England actually banned Christmas because they viewed it as a popish or Catholic invention and a pagan holdover that led to sinful behaviour. Where in Boston, celebrating Christmas was a criminal offence, genuinely, from 1659 to 1681. So
That's all I got to say
so
to
for
that.
just over 20 years, it was a crime
That's so sad.
to celebrate Christmas, which is crazy. But in the modern family-centric Christmas, it was largely a 19th century invention, so the Christmas that we know it as today. So authors like Charles Dickens, with his famous novel A Christmas Carol, and Queen Victoria, who popularised the German tradition of the Christmas tree, helped shift the holiday from a ruckus street party to a sentimental indoor celebration of the home and children. So, again, Queen Vic, who we actually spoke about a long while back, actually.
We did.
In one of our episodes, actually did another thing to sort of move culture forward.
She really influenced those Victorians back in her day.
She really did.
Yeah, and I wonder if the Lord of Misrule aspect of it invented like that if you misbehave then you won't get any gifts.
Perhaps.
I wonder if that's where that evolved
like
from as well.
Like the sort of Santa Claus-esque kind of thing. But
however,
as we've gone talking about our merry, lovely sleigh ride jingle bells of what Christmas is.
Now we've got to get into the jingle bells of hell.
Jingle bells of hell, i.e. the bad boo nitty gritty, as we say every single time.
It wouldn't be a bad boo episode if we kept it all light and nice and airy and fairy for you.
Exactly. So as we know, Christmas can have quite a dark past.
Yes,
and
it
some
does.
Dark
as
folklore.
Most holidays do. So let's get into it, shall we?
Let's do that. Let's do just that.
So the dark side of the holidays. We're going to go through it and break it down again, just like we did for you in the previous sections. So, of course, we are starting off with the Saturnalia, aka the Week of Lawlessness, which, if you think about it, kind of sounds like the Purge to me.
Yes, that's what came to mind.
But I don't think it was that bad. But who knows? We weren't there. Anyway.
Who knows?
The predecessor to Christmas from the Romans obviously wasn't a cozy dinner. It was a period of total social collapse. Courts and schools were closed, and the usual rules of conduct were completely suspended, and this often led to public intoxication, widespread gambling, and even sexual license that would be considered criminal at any other time of the year.
So it kind of is like a mini purge.
It is
in
a
some
mini
ways,
purge,
which is like
absolutely terrifying
wild
for people to live by no laws.
Yeah.
And basically every year a community would choose a quote-unquote Lord of Misrule or a quote-unquote Saturnalian king. This person was often a low status individual who had been given the power to command anyone to do ridiculous or even degrading tasks. And in some darker historical accounts, which are debated, but we're going to say it just for the scream factor, this king was allegedly sacrificed at the end of the festival to appease the gods for the harvest.
Yikes! Wow. That's very dark.
Yeah.
And so the ones we just listed, there's like a dark side to it, or like a perceived dark theories behind these things. So take these with how you will, but
also take
some
it
of
with
this
a pinch
stuff,
of salt, because some of it is just debated as well.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this happened a long time ago, but what is a world without debate? So that this is why we bring all the dark stuff in there. It's got to be good, it's got to be bad. So this is it. But before modern caroling, there was something called wassailing, which was less about singing and more about class warfare.
Ooh.
So groups of poor young men would roam the streets and knock on the doors of the wealthy and demand the best food and the strongest drink that there was going. And the lyrics of the old wassailing songs often contained veiled threats. So if the homeowner that they came to visit didn't provide figgy pudding or ale, the wassailers would refuse to leave and vandalise the property or even commit acts of violence. It was essentially a seasonal protection racket. So,
oh my gosh.
Again, it's kind of along the same lines of the purge, but also almost like a redemption type thing for the class system.
I always think that figgy pudding song sounds really pushy.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, bring us some figgy pudding. Oh, bring us some figgy pudding.
They repeat it 3 or 4 times, don't they? Yeah. So
it's so
that
high
is
paced,
the origins,
and it's
really.
so bring it here now.
That is the origins of the figgy
that
pudding.
Makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Also, why not just go and ask for if you're poor, obviously at that time we're talking Victorian ages. Why not just go and ask for standard food? You know, why would you go and ask particularly for the best food? And I can understand the strongest drink, because it's the middle of winter, you're cold, you want to get fucked up, it's fine.
Yeah.
We understand that. But the best food.
Yeah.
If you're poor, why wouldn't you just want
food?
Yeah.
Yeah. Challenge, obviously set
just
challenge.
Any type of food. I would have settled for any type of food. However, separate to that, in many European countries, the benevolent gift bringer was often accompanied by a terrifying companion whose job was to actually physically punish the wicked. In Alpine folklore, this half-goat, half-demon figure was actually called Krampus, and he carried a bundle of birch sticks to beat children and a sack or a basket to kidnap quote-unquote bad children and then carry them to hell or to drown them in a river.
Wow.
I know. Then...
And, actually, just quickly, Krampus, just saying, stay tuned for next week.
Yes.
A little finale, wintry season episode is going to be all about Krampus. So stay tuned for episode 13 because
we're going to go Krampus crazy next week.
That is the finale of the Christmas set of episodes. So
it is.
Please do subscribe if you're on YouTube, and if you're on Spotify, please follow along because you won't want to miss next week.
So after Krampus, when we head to a slightly different side of, not necessarily the world, but of Europe, in Germanic and Austrian folklore, we then have the goddess Perchta, who would actually roam the streets during the 12 days of Christmas, and if she found a child who had been lazy or who hadn't spun their wool, she was said to slit their bellies open, remove their internal organs, and stuff the cavity with straw and pebbles.
I'll just put in the... if any of you have seen the 1,000-yard stare meme image, I'll just put it in that face, eyes wide, like, Jesus.
I know.
My goodness.
That reminds me of the Spencer scene from The Walking Dead the other day.
Yes.
We're rewatching The Walking Dead, and we just got to the bit where spoiler alert
Spoilers
if you haven't
seen The Walking Dead.
We're like at the beginning of season 8 now.
I think it was the end of season 7, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That happened.
Basically, like, Negan's involved, and they're all trying to like rebel against him, but they're too scared to. And who is it? Spencer tries to take over Rick's role, and he ends up getting his stomach slit open.
Yep. But he doesn't get it stuffed with straw and pebbles. That gives me Midsummer vibes.
It does.
If you haven't seen the end of Midsummer, then I won't spoil it. But people get stuffed with straw.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Shortly moving on, we're now going to go over to Iceland, because over there, a giantess named Gryla would come down from the mountains to hunt for children to cook in her stew, accompanied by the Yule cat, who was a monster that ate anyone who didn't receive new clothes for Christmas. And this was basically a way to force labourers to finish their weaving in time for Christmas.
So again, it's all stories to try and make people be in line.
To try and make kids behave, to try and make workers work, to try and make rich people give them food.
Yeah. It's kind of make people just kind of be...
It's just fear-mongering.
In some
Christmas
ways,
is a fear-mongering holiday.
It's kind of... I don't know. It is. It certainly used to be.
Yeah.
I mean, the Santa Claus tradition is still going around, and it's a lot nicer. It's not Krampus or anything like that, but it still gives, I suppose it depends on what you're brought up like, but it gives people like an incentive to, like, as children, to behave.
Yeah.
If you don't behave, you won't get things you want, essentially. So
I suppose it also kind of does the same thing for adults as well, because it's like, if you're not nice, then you're going to have a bad Christmas, because people will just like...
People won't want to be around you.
They'll leave you out, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be...
No one should be alone on Christmas.
No, nobody should be alone on Christmas.
Nobody should be. But next, so the darkness of Christmas was so pronounced that the church eventually tried to kill the holiday entirely. So this is obviously what we were saying earlier in the
about the Puritans
in England and America considered Christmas sort of a complete abomination, and they hated it completely because it was like very excessive, like drinking and rioting and all that stuff. Like I say, it's a criminal offence, and you could be fined in that time 5 shillings for simply staying home from work on December the 25th, or even baking a mince pie.
Jesus, that's a bit strict. The work one I can understand, because like, if you're going to skip out when like you should be working, because they banned the entire thing. I
mean, this is what's in A Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Anyway, like Scrooge gives that poor kid a certain amount of shillings. I think in A Muppet Christmas Carol, which is goated if you haven't seen it, he throws the little rabbit boy 5 shillings to go and buy the Christmas is it the turkey? It must be the turkey.
Oh, at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a turkey. He's like,
because
is that turkey still in the
because
in the window of the shop?
The turkey at the time was like the prize meat, and like the goose was like the poor person's meat, if that makes sense. So Yeah, I mean, 5 shillings. He threw in 5 shillings, and he went nuts when you gave him 5 shillings. But like, imagine being fined that.
I know, and for even baking a singular minced pie.
I do wonder what 5 shillings is in terms of like today's like equivalent. If any of you know, then you have to let us know below.
Hey Siri.
Oh, here we go.
What is the equivalent of 5 shillings in modern Great British pounds?
Here we go.
Okay, I found this on the web for what is the equivalent of 5 shillings in modern Great British pounds. Check it out.
We have an old money calculator.
It's an old money calculator coming in clutch.
Coming in clutch.
We are going to have a look and see what 5 shillings is, and then you can kind of get an idea of how severe the crime was in regards to the criminal offence.
5 shillings is 25 pence nowadays.
Well, probably back then it was the equivalent of a certain amount.
Yeah.
I'd probably say like hundreds of pounds, I'd reckon. If any of you know, then let us know, obviously. Last piece of folklore we have for you is what we mentioned earlier, which was the wild hunt and the dead, like from ancient Norse and Germanic folklore. So this was obviously during the winter solstice, the time when the veil between the worlds was the thinnest. And the wild hunt, like we said, where the spectral army of the dead would sort of go through the air, fly through the air, like including the horse and all this stuff. It would fly through the sky, and seeing it was considered like a death omen, actually, in some theories. And people would actually stay indoors and keep their lights low, not out of coziness, but actually to avoid being snatched up by the ghostly riders and forced to join the army of the dead forever. So again, it's quite a freaky one. Yeah, I don't know how would you feel seeing something fly through the sky?
A bit uneasy, but the same way that I would feel if it was a UFO, you know?
Yeah,
I'd kind of be like,
whoa.
I'd be like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But just to end the Mystic Matter section, just sort of wanted to gather some famous Christmas ghost stories, actually.
Just before we get into the ghost stories.
That sort of, because as we all know, fiction and movies and books and stories, they all shape culture and sort of how people behave as well. It's just as influential as like politics.
It is. It's so important.
So that's why I gathered some ghost stories that have shaped people's behaviour and were designed in a way to alter people's behaviour, just like these sort of religions did themselves.
But just before we get into that, I clicked on a website and it said that apparently it's £112.
That's about right.
I'm not sure if that's true.
Correct us again if you know.
I'm no historian,
but
let's go with it.
That's quite £112 fine for a mince pie. That's like a parking fine, isn't it? Type thing. So
a parking fine when you don't pay it for those 14 days that they give you the notice
Yeah.
for.
So yeah, not very nice in my opinion. But yes, the Christmas ghost stories.
Speaking of other things that aren't very nice.
Speaking of other things that are a bit creepy, so I say before, TV and cinema, like we say, entertainment was around gathering sort of around a fire to tell winter tales, and like the song "It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year." It's the most wonderful time of the year. That one specifically mentions scary ghost stories.
Does it?
In there? Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Like as part of the lyrics, as a staple of the season. Yeah.
Oh, I've been singing that song
Is
wrong
it
the entire
scary
time.
ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmas is long ago.
Oh,
Type thing.
I never knew that.
It's a long.
That's really
line,
cool.
so.
See, you guys learned something today, and I learned something today.
So it's such
Wow.
a staple part of Christmas.
And look at us go, learning all these beautiful things together.
Absolutely. So,
of course, we have the infamous A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens from 1843.
a long time ago.
Just give it a little clap for me, guys. This is just like absolutely goated story.
A bad boo gold star.
Yeah. This is the undisputed king of Christmas ghost stories.
It is.
And while most people think of the story as like a heartwarming tale of redemption, which it is, but like at the core, if you get past that, it's just a harrowing Victorian ghost story at the end of the day. And that's because obviously we've got the image of the dead business partner who's draped in heavy clanking chains made of like cash boxes and ledgers, who's one of the most enduring images of the holiday. And then
being
you've got
Jacob Marley.
Yeah, and then obviously the entire concept of the three spirits. You have each ghost who like uses psychological horror showing Scrooge like his own lonely death and then the suffering of others, to force moral awakening.
And Scrooge is very much representative of people of the time, like rich people and tight people that were not giving, and
buggers.
It's timeless. Like, the story is utterly timeless, and the core message behind it will live on forever. But we won't go into too much detail about that.
Not right now.
And there's a little reason for that, but we will come to that soon. Second of all, there's the ghost stories of M.R. James. So Montague Rhodes James, who was a Cambridge scholar, is the father of the modern Christmas ghost story, and every Christmas Eve he would invite his students and friends to his rooms, dim the lights, and read a new terrifying story that he had written specifically for the occasion.
I will just say though, if your scholar teacher is inviting you to their dorm room, don't go.
We don't recommend you go.
That's not recommended nowadays.
Definitely call the cops.
That's very dangerous.
Call the cops ASAP. But anyway, back then, a story called "Oh Whistle and I'll Come to You, My Lad" is a story about an ancient whistle that summons a terrifying faceless entity made of bed sheets.
Ooh, classic ghost.
Yeah, and his stories became like the basis for the BBC's long-running series "A Ghost Story for Christmas," which I haven't actually heard of before.
No, I haven't either.
Which has aired periodically, sort of since the 1970s, actually.
Ooh.
So
might have to tune into that.
Might have to have a little look.
If anybody's seen that, let us know if it's any good in the comments. If it's not, also tell us in the comments.
Yeah.
Then we have the famous novella, which actually begins on Christmas Eve, which is The Turn of the Screw by Henry James, 1898. And it was a group of people who gathered around a fire at an old house were telling ghost stories, and one guest promises a tale more gruesome than any of the others have ever heard. This leads to the main story of a governess and two children haunted by the spirits of former servants.
There's these little tales very much sort of encompass what makes Christmas and how people have changed, and especially Christmas Carol has been so influential in that.
And obviously when you think of Christmas, and especially A Christmas Carol itself, it's a story that completely transports you to like another time and brings all of these ghostly apparitions to life, which actually is the same for what we're going to be talking about in today's section of the Isle of Fright.
So for this week's Isle of Fright, we have probably chosen the most iconic, famous ghost tale of the entire Isle of Wight, and it's very, very notorious. It's appeared on TV, it's appeared in programs and ghost hunting things and all sorts. It is the infamous Knighton Gorges, which, if you don't know, it is located near a town called Newchurch on the Isle of Wight, and it's, like we say, probably considered the most haunted location on what is often called Ghost Island, which we've spoken about.
And the Isle of Fairies, as we discovered in our last episode.
The word wight meaning fairies, but go and check that out.
Isle of Supernatural.
Go and check that out. And I say go and check out all our episodes after this one. We've got an array of things that have been, an array of episodes to come, very, very exciting ones especially. But much like the Victorian ghost stories that we've just discussed, its legends are deeply tied to the dark, freezing nights of late December and the turn of the new year. So really, it's a New Year's ghost story.
It is.
But it happens like during the last sort of parts of the winter. So that's why we've included it in this episode. Because, you know, Christmas would have been by the time that you hear us again.
Yeah.
And as we're approaching sort of the end of the year, and next week's episode is slightly different, so it wouldn't really suit. So here's probably a nice one to end sort of the wintry, ghostly story for you.
Yeah, exactly. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, guys, gorges, those are like places in the woods, right? This one actually isn't. This one is the name of an estate, and so that's why it's particularly interesting. So the famous legend of the Knighton Gorges is that of the house itself is a ghost.
Yes.
Dun dun dun.
It's a big ghost.
And this is because although the grand manor itself was completely destroyed and demolished in 1821, it is said to physically reappear during the winter solstice period, and specifically happens on New Year's Eve as you go into New Year's Day.
Yeah, and people actually gather there.
Yep, people do. Every New Year's Eve, witnesses and ghost hunters gather at the remaining gateposts in hopes of seeing the manor return. Legend says that the house appears fully illuminated by thousands of candles, with the sounds of orchestral music, clinking glasses, and raucous laughter echoing through the valley.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen it, but I've never actually gone
No,
to find it. But
we haven't.
might be something that we've
gone to the
want
gatepost
to do.
before.
We have. There's nothing there.
No.
But there's such a vibe there,
Yeah,
isn't there?
it feels, because it's at the bottom of a valley, but
It's
this
like Woman in
house
Black
is
kind of
completely
vibes.
completely isolated as you're
Yeah.
making your way out of the valley.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing there, is there? It's
No,
just the
there's
gates.
nothing
That's
around it.
Because everything's gone.
It is a privately owned property now, so we do not recommend visiting it. However, if you do fancy driving past that road
Yeah.
on New Year's Eve, obviously nobody can stop you.
Yeah. Well, people go and park up right outside, and they wait by the gates to
They
see
do,
it.
yeah, but no trespassing.
No, do not
Because
go
people
through.
on the Isle of Wight own guns, so no trespassing.
Yes, do not do that.
No. But passers-by have reported seeing figures in 18th century fancy dress dancing through the windows, and one famous account even tells of a man who was seeing the party in full swing, knocked on the door to complain about the reckless carriage driver, only to find the next morning that he had been standing in an empty field.
And that is like, that would traumatise me.
That would traumatize me as well. I would think that I'd be going
I've gone
crazy.
like mad. Yeah.
I'd take myself to the hospital.
Yeah, so would I.
Yeah.
But a lot of these ghosts and stuff appear from some quite tragic things and events.
So just before we do go into the specific hauntings at the infamous Knighton Gorges, please, for anybody who is sensitive and is listening right now, please be aware that there are some sensitive topics mentioned in the next few minutes of the segment as we get into how these people passed, and the few things that they remind us of from different films. So if you want to skip forward to the next section, please do. It should be bookmarked in the timeline somewhere. But yeah.
But if not, just keep skipping until you see the next section pop
Yes.
up. So this includes the tragedy of Sir Tristram Dillington, where the most harrowing individual story of the Knighton Gorges involves this gentleman who was a former owner who sadly took his own life on July the 7th in 1721. But his spirit is said to be the most active during the dark winter months. So at the time, doing this type of thing to yourself was seen as a sin that could lead to the crown seizing a family's estate. And to protect the inheritance, Sir Tristram's loyal steward strapped his master's body onto his favourite horse, Thunderbolt, and drove them both into a deep pond. So again, that gives me Woman in Black.
Oh my god, yeah.
Vibes,
He
doesn't it?
killed a horse?
Yeah.
The horse didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah. It's used as bait.
That's so sad. Why did he kill the horse?
The plan worked, and the death was ruled an accident, but the real horror remained, and Sir Tristram is now said to haunt the grounds as a spectral rider, forever reliving the moment his horse galloped into the dark water. So if you haven't read or seen The Woman in Black, whether it's on stage or as the film, both brilliant, all three brilliant, it kind of gives the vibes of the woman's child that is in the marsh.
Yeah.
That he kind of digs out of the carriage.
It does, yeah.
Which is, I hate that scene so much, like in the film. It's grim, but this gives me those vibes.
Yeah, it gives me those vibes as
Going
well,
into
and
the
it's
dark
absolutely
water.
terrifying.
I hate dark water. It's a
I
massive
hate
fear
dark
of
water
mine.
as well. So, additionally to the tragedy of Sir Dillington, we also have the murderer's curse, which is associated with a person called Hugh de Morville. So basically, the darkness of the site predates the manor, and that's because stretching back to the 12th century, there was a really famous historical assassination, and this was basically one of the earliest owners of the site, Sir Hugh de Morville, was one of 4 knights who murdered the Archbishop of Canterbury, Thomas Becket, on the 29th of December, 1170.
So even further back
Yeah.
from the previous tragedy.
And allegedly, Hugh fled to the Knighton Gorges immediately after the murder, and it is said that he brought a curse with him, and many believe that the subsequent centuries of insanity and tragedy for families and individuals that plagued the house were actually a direct result of the Archbishop's blood being on Hugh de Morville's hands during the final week of December.
So there's a lot of tragedy. I
Mhm,
mean, these
it
are
is a
things
lot.
that we found, so...
Tragedy.
So, again, whether these things could be, not false, these things could have happened, it might not have happened, but...
If you're listening from the Isle of Wight and you've been to Knighton Gorges before, tell us your story in the comments.
Yes, and if there's anything that we've got wrong, or
Ask
whatever,
your nan if she's been there.
please tell us.
Yes.
Yeah, ask your nan. But so these are just facts we found out. We just wanted to share it with you. So, these are ghost stories that we have found. So, again, take it with a pinch of salt, but it's very interesting nonetheless.
It is.
Something that's, again, probably equally as interesting are the notorious vanishing gateposts. So even the physical remnants of the house are subject to supernatural activity. So the only thing left that we said are the gateposts. They are still part of the supernatural activity. All that remains of the estate today are 2 weathered stone gateposts, and historically these were topped with stone lions or dogs. People can't really tell. It's probably lions, because of the stoicism and all that kind of stuff. Though the statues were removed or destroyed centuries ago, locals frequently report seeing the stone lions sitting atop the pillars on moonlit nights, only for them to vanish when approached. So that's quite interesting. And visitors to the site often report that their phones, cameras and flashlights mysteriously fail as they approach the gateposts, which is a phenomenon that many attribute to the heavy psychic energy of the valley. So Knighton Gorges is very, very haunted. It's the most haunted place on
to
the
be.
island, and it's very, very famous for being haunted. So
if you want to see us go to Knighton Gorges, then leave a comment below.
yes, let us know. Like I say, these are stories, and whether you've got more information or truths about what happened, please let us know in the comments, or please just reach out to us and let us know, because these are things we found, and whether they happened or did not happen, it's interesting nonetheless. So we thought we'd share it with you. But something that is for certain, Knighton Gorges is unbelievably haunted. So I'd say
It's an absolutely terrifying place.
we will 100% go there if you want us to do that. So yeah, that's pretty amazing.
So, straying away from our spooky little island, that leads us on to our next section of Boo or Bust. Welcome everybody to the Boo or Bust segment of today's episode.
Hurrah!
So as we have been doing for the past few episodes, we are going to read you a story from Reddit, as that is the best place for personal stories, whether they are made up or whether they are true.
It's the biggest debate.
And today's one is from the No Sleep subreddit, and it was posted 6 years ago by a...
Rickon Dickon Dacken 123.
Yep,
I think that's how it's said. Which is a wild name.
it is, but a cool name nonetheless. And so today's story that we're going to be reading, where you are going to decide if it is a boo or a bust, is called I Will Never Visit My Grandma for Christmas Again.
A few of our stories have had grandparents in it, haven't they? But nonetheless,
That's why we talk about your nan so much, because she'd
Absolutely.
be interested in the episodes.
she's actually in this episode
Or the
in a
stories
story.
might be about her and you just don't know them yet.
Exactly.
We're warning you guys.
This is a warning
It's a
to all
warning.
nans out there. But anyway, please go and visit your nan for Christmas. She can't be alone.
Yes, make sure that she's okay, and ask her to give you lots of Werther's originals, because if she
Yes.
doesn't do that, then she's not a real grandma.
Exactly. But nonetheless, this is a grandma you won't want to visit.
And the story goes as follows. I love visiting my grandma. She always makes the food that I like, and in large quantities, and spoils me. With the hustle and bustle of college life, it's nice to go back to my childhood and to be spoiled for a few hours every few weeks. Even though she has 6 grandchildren, she has made it clear that I'm her absolute favourite, She'd often have the whole family around for dinner, and after they left, she'd bring out the good stuff she made just for me. We usually have a big Christmas dinner together with the whole family. However, as the years go by and the younger ones start growing up, fewer and fewer people show up. Last year, everyone already made plans, forgetting about poor Grandma. I don't blame them, but they often forget how these visits mean a lot to her, especially ever since Grandpa died.
That's why when I talked on the phone with her and she asked if I had any plans, I lied to her and told her I didn't. She immediately jumped at the opportunity to politely invite me, going so far as to offer me to sleep over at her place. She said there's one room which hasn't been used in years and I could stay in there. I immediately said yes and agreed to stay over, realising how happy that would make her. I cancelled the plans that I made with my friends, telling them something else came up. Although they were bummed about it a little, their drinking party wouldn't stop because of me. This is the last Christmas that I'd ever spend with my grandma. On Christmas Eve, I arrived to my grandma's place and she greeted me like she always does, with a tight hug and lots of kisses. I barely even stepped inside when she started offering me food. She had already made what could only be described as an all-you-can-eat buffet. We dug in, and once we were done, she showed me where I could sleep for the night. It was a cosy little bedroom, which apparently used to be my mum's room when she was little.
Grandma told me not to leave my room during Christmas night in order to avoid disrupting Santa in his work. She said that if I really needed to use the bathroom, I could, but to be extremely quiet and not go downstairs. On the nightstand, she left a list of things I should do before I go to bed to ensure I get a good present. I decided to play along and abide by the rules. I told her I'd read it before bed and do everything necessary, and she seemed content with that. She wished me goodnight and left the room. I was pretty tired from the trip there and the enormous dinner I'd eaten, so I lay down on the bed and involuntarily fell asleep within minutes. I woke up a few hours later. I glanced at my watch and realised it was 3:01 a.m.
I got up to grab a glass of water downstairs in the kitchen and groggily walked through the dark, trying to avoid any loud noise or turning on the lights, not to wake Grandma. I went downstairs and turned on the kitchen light, gulping down a glass of water. I glanced towards the living room at the Christmas tree, and something caught my attention under the glow of the decoration lights. There was a small plate with a tiny paper that said, "For Santa." I reckoned it was cookies and milk. But when I got closer, I realised that the plate was empty. Red liquid was in it, and right next to the plate was a small bucket. Obviously, I found this weird, but figured that my grandma may have just forgotten to put it away or something.
I turned off the kitchen lights and returned to my room, just then remembering the list that Grandma gave me. I grabbed it off my nightstand and started reading. Dear James, thank you for visiting me for Christmas. You made your grandma really happy. Now Christmas is a little different in this house than what you're probably used to, so it's very important that you follow these rules on the list. Number 1, make sure to close your windows and ensure they are properly closed. These old windows don't work properly sometimes, so if you feel like cold air is coming in, let me know. 2, don't put any wood in the fireplace after 9 p.m. Santa will be really angry if it's scalding in the chimney or if there's still smoke. Number 3, you didn't forget about the cookies and milk, did you?
I stopped reading and chuckled at the list. Grandma clearly wanted me to follow the basic rules for Santa like when I was a kid, but again, I decided to oblige. I continued reading the list.
In this household, we don't use milk and cookies, we use raw meat and blood. I already left a bucket by the Christmas tree, and there's a raw piece of chicken I put on the plate. Santa sure loves his diet. 4, if you are woken up by the sound of scratching or knocking on your window, ignore it, in brackets. Your room is on the 2nd floor, there is no way to reach up to it. Close brackets. In fact, it's best not to look there, but if you see someone beckoning you, pretend they're not there. They may try to open the window from the outside. This is why it's so important to keep the windows closed. Number 5, you may hear growling coming from the kitchen. It's okay, because Santa never comes upstairs, and since I already left the chicken for him, that should satisfy him.
By this point, I was sure Grandma was just messing with me. This was until I heard the sound of 3 gentle knocks on the window behind me. I froze in place, staring at the list, but practically staring through it. 3 more gentle knocks ensued, but I did my best not to give away that I had heard them. Once again, there were 3 more knocks, and then the sound of scratching started. First gently, then louder, as if a rat was trying to bite through the wall. It lasted for around a minute until it completely stopped. Only when it did I gather enough courage to slightly shift my position. That was a mistake though, because when I looked down to the floor, at the light which was cast in from the window, I saw the unmistakable shadow in the form of a humanoid silhouette stretched across. I couldn't tell for sure, but it looked like whoever was there held both his hands on the window and stared directly towards me. I decided that the best thing to do is to continue reading the list and try and distract myself.
6. If someone walks into your room while you're sleeping and you happen to wake up, pretend that you're still asleep. In the worst case scenario, the person will sit on the edge of your bed and observe you, so do your best to not let them know that you're awake. If you feel their breath on your neck and it gets progressively closer, it means that they've realised you're awake. 7. You may hear me calling you from downstairs. Don't listen to it. I will under no circumstances go downstairs during the night. 8. Last and most important rule. If you get up to go to the bathroom, never, ever, ever turn on any lights in the house. He has trouble noticing you in the dark, but if you turn on the light, he will be able to follow you wherever you go, and then not even locking your door will help. 9. Follow these simple rules and in the morning we can open your Christmas presents. Love, Grandma.
The scratching and knocking had already stopped by the time I was done reading, and the shadow from the window was gone. I got into bed and covered myself over my head, shivering, and not from the cold. Sometime during the night, I heard my door open, but did my best to ignore the footsteps and low growling noise. I either passed out or fell asleep sometime later, but all I know is I woke up to the sound coming downstairs from the kitchen. I shot up, looking around the room at the window, rubbing my temples and thinking about the nightmare I had. I left my room and immediately heard my grandma's voice calling me from downstairs to come and open the presents.
I told her I'm coming when I suddenly felt a grip on my wrist. I turned around and saw my grandma there, staring at me wide-eyed. She leaned in and whispered in my ear with a trembling voice, "You turned on the lights, didn't you?"
So there we go.
Ooh.
That is the story. I will never visit my grandma for Christmas again. So,
Tell us, will you be visiting your grandma's for Christmas again?
if she's doing that, hell no.
Hell no.
Hell no.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, hell. Wow, that was very musical and
Thank you.
operatic. Wow, that was a frightening story.
It was. I think that's definitely a boo.
Yeah, do you?
Yeah.
I mean, that goes down that idea of the doppelganger,
I want a
But
part 2 though. Like,
Yeah.
what is it that's downstairs? Is it a demon? Is it a wolf?
maybe there is a part 2.
Is it like a shapeshifter and it goes from being a person to like, I don't know, like a beast? Like, what is it?
I mean, that's creepy enough. You're going downstairs thinking, oh, Christmas presents, and you get a grapple on the wrist.
Yep.
Bam. It's your real
Terrifying.
grandma saying, don't go
Oh.
down there. Damn. It kind of gave me like the shivers when I read
It
it.
did. It gave me the like goosebumps as
Yeah.
we were reading it.
So, yeah, if you think it's a boo, let us know. If you think it's a bust, let us know. And why. We would
Yeah.
like to know why.
And with that, let's get on to some other chilling tales in our Silver Scream.
So, as we normally do for our Silver Scream, we start off with a good old movie quote.
Just to give you guys a little bit of a clue as to what we're going to be talking about today.
Oh, yes. So, it's a short quote this time, but you'll probably get it if you're cultured. If not, then you're kind of lost. So, I'm sorry.
There's so many different versions of this film that if you
So
don't
many.
get it, then you have been living like in the North Pole and you don't have access to any social media, TV or Wi-Fi.
Or a book.
Or a
for that matter.
book, yeah.
But the quote reads as follows.
Bah Humbug.
There we go. So, you probably guessed it. We've spoken about the book just
And
now.
if you didn't guess it, dummy. No, I'm kidding.
Dummy.
We love you very much.
Yeah.
But if you didn't guess it, then it's a Christmas Carol.
We're talking about A Christmas Carol.
Specifically, today we'll be talking about the 2009 Jim Carrey version.
Yes, and the reason that we have chosen this one is because we believe that is the most accessible one.
It's
I
the
suppose.
most encompassing one as far as audiences go because
Yeah.
it's a tale that is obviously very, very old and is like stapled in time as the best Christmas kind of like stories ever.
Yes.
So obviously people young and old all know about it. It is an animation, so it targets the younger audience.
Yeah.
But it's the darker version of all the animations out there, we think. So it has got that slightly older audience feel to it.
Yes, and I think that it sort of has the perfect blend of, you know, very spooky stuff that does freak you out, and it plays into like a lot of the things that Dickens wrote in the book.
Yeah.
But it's also accessible, so that's why we chose it. Obviously there are many versions, people have their favourite versions. This is my personal favourite version, also because of Jim Carrey. I love Jim Carrey, but he's obviously iconic in himself. But let's just go into a little bit of detail about it. But we won't just be talking about this one, but this is like the main central focus of the silver screen for this week.
Yes, so in this 2009 performance capture adaptation, the miserable Ebenezer Scrooge is taken on a harrowing journey through time by three spirits to discover the true meaning of Christmas before it is too late.
Yes.
So, Ebenezer Scrooge is a bitter moneylender who spends Christmas Eve snapping at his nephew and mistreating his overworked clerk, Bob Cratchit. The ghost of his dead partner, Jacob Marley, then appears in chains to warn Scrooge that three spirits will visit him to offer him a final chance at redemption. Firstly, there's the ghost of a Christmas past, who is a flickering candle-like entity revisiting Scrooge's lonely school days and the tragic loss of his fiancée, Belle, due to his greed. Then we have the boisterous ghost of Christmas, Present, who reveals the joyful but impoverished life of the Cratchits and the fragile health of saintly Tiny Tim. Then, finally, we have the silent, terrifying ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, who pursues Scrooge through the streets, showing him a future where Tiny Tim is dead and Scrooge's own death is celebrated by those that he has cheated. After seeing his own name on the neglected grave, Scrooge is plunged into a dark void, desperately vowing to honour Christmas in his heart. After this, Scrooge then wakes up on Christmas morning a changed man. He shocks the town with his sudden generosity, sends a massive feast to the Cratchit home, and reconciles with his nephew. The story concludes with Scrooge becoming a second father to a surviving Tiny Tim and a symbol of kindness in London.
So that is the plot of A Christmas Carol. I mean, it's the
is.
same in all the adaptations, but yeah, it's timeless. It's an amazing story, and it's one that, you know, if you're into books, or, you know, I hope that if you're listening to this, you're into your films very much so. I very much recommend go and watch this one or any of the versions, because they're all the same, but they're all done differently.
Yes.
So, going into the sort of influence and legacy side of this specific version and the novel as a whole, Dickens's Christmas Carol is, like we said, arguably the most influential secular story ever written. While this 2009 adaptation served as a high-tech experiment in how the story is told. So before Dickens, Christmas was a kind of fading holiday in some ways. He shifted the focus from religious ritual and the ruckus street parties to the heart and home, emphasising family, charity, and the spirit of benevolence that remains the global standard for the holiday. So it's very influential.
It is.
As we know, in terms of pop culture and Christmas culture and just society. Dickens used this specific ghost story, the format, to launch a massive social critique on the treatment of the poor. So it's very much an attack on the class sort of system model that was around.
Go Dickens.
The characters of ignorance and want, which were essentially two children that lived under the Ghost of Christmas Present's cloak, and they represented ignorance and want, forced the Victorian middle class to look at a systemic poverty influencing modern charitable traditions that we know of today. So it is very much a ghost story that was very, very impactful and feared a lot of people into becoming Scrooge and having these ghosts come and visit.
As if it wasn't terrifying enough to have some ghosts come and visit you.
Yeah.
These ghosts are like hounding on your ass that like you're a shit person.
If you are doing a Christmas quiz and there's a common question that comes up is how many ghosts visit Scrooge, It's 4. People always say 3, but it's 4. Jacob Marley is one of them.
Oh.
He's the first ghost to come and visit. So the question is, who was the first ghost to visit? It's not the Ghost of Christmas Past. It's Jacob Marley. Make sure you do that. Little tip from me. So the story gave us the term Scrooge, which actually is a play on words of the word scrounge, which essentially means basically taking something at the expense of other people.
Yeah.
So like Scrooge, it would be money at the expense of poor people. Like when the charitable people come to visit him at the start, they say about asking for donations, and he says about sending these people to like prisons and workhouses and all these types of things. So it's always at the expense of others, especially at the start. And it created the definitive blueprint alongside the phrase Bah Humbug for the redemption arc as we know it today, which has been copied in thousands and thousands of films and books since. So it's kind of like one of the original like redemption arcs, and saying that to these people that may not know that they're being greedy, or may know very much well that they are, that you have the chance to change, and that people will be gracious for you for changing. And the story established the idea that a person can be saved, like we say, not just through religious means, but through human empathy and a reconnection with their own past. So basically being, I think they mentioned in it, it's about being rich in personality, like rich in character, not rich in money, and that's what's more important in life. And that's a great message that I always take in my life.
It's really an amazing message.
It's more important to be rich in personality than rich in money. So means you've got both as a bonus, but being rich in personality doesn't cost us anything.
No.
And it's a much nicer trait.
It's a perfect little, like, that film is basically a perfectly little wrapped like Christmas present, pretty much. Yeah. Because it's really teaching you something at the end of the day, but it makes everything worth it as well.
Absolutely.
But taking things to a little more of a film perspective, specifically talking about the 2009 version of A Christmas Carol, this film is often like cited as one of the most significant examples of performance capture or like mocap technology. Directed by Robert Zemeckis, it's pushed the boundaries of trying to make digital characters look like real life characters, and though it sparked debate about whether the eyes looked soulless or not, it is still one of like the greatest adaptations of the film. Yeah. And obviously it paves the way for even films like Avatar, where they have real actors kind of motion capturing these like on-screen characters that they're playing. It was a really, really eye-opening like way of creating a film and bringing these stories to life. Robert also actually directed The Polar Express and many other films, but he used the same technique for The Polar Express and for a few other films as well.
That's why a lot of people say The Polar Express is creepy. Yeah. Because it has that kind of uncanny valley-esque look in the eyes, that it's soulless, but it's like real and it's kind of strange. Yeah. The Polar Express has always been like our family, in terms of the Porter family, always been essentially the Christmas movie. It's sort of the one watch every Christmas Eve. Yeah. It's festive and it's a great little story.
It is. Yeah.
And yeah, Robert Zemeckis also did Back to the Future, and he also did Forrest Gump. So
also amazing film. See, so you can trust this guy with your Christmas choices.
Especially Back to the Future. That is like one of the absolute goats of movies in general. But anyway, flying back to A Christmas Carol,
this film kind of has its greatest technical legacy through Jim Carrey's performance. Obviously, Jim Carrey is an amazing actor.
Very much.
But by playing Scrooge at every age and all three ghosts, it was really demonstrated that mocap allows for a single actor to play physically impossible roles within a single scene. Yeah, so I actually didn't know that he was all three ghosts. I knew that he was Scrooge at every age in the film. Yeah. But I didn't know that he was all three of the ghosts as well. That's amazing.
Yeah, he sort of did. I mean, that's what, like I say, that's what mocap is really good for. It allows people to be different. Yeah. Kind of, people, and even if it's impossible.
Well, if you're looking for an actor with diversity in his roles, give Jim Carrey a shout. He's a safe bet every single time.
He very much is.
However, unlike many of the cozy adaptations of this film, the 2009 one, as we previously mentioned, is credited with bringing back the genuine terror that Dickens's original text actually had. And that's because the high-speed chase with the ghost of Christmas Yet to Come and the harrowing Jacob Marley scene reminded audiences that this was meant to be a real ghost story first, before anything else.
Yes. That's why we picked it in here, because there are some, even though it's like, Disney and it's like animated, it's still scary, and it still kind of brings that element of horror into it, I suppose, if you like.
Yeah. And even nowadays, obviously where things like motion capture have like progressed like very, very amazingly, even like years later, this film's known for its like fly-through shots of 1840s London, because it was actually praised for how historically accurate and detailed they are, for representing the atmosphere and setting the bar really high for visual like world building, particularly for a Victorian England.
Yeah, very much so. But combining sort of one of the most frantic creative bursts with one of like modern cinema's most complex technical shoots, we sort of gathered like some behind the scenes looks at the film itself,
as well as the 1843 novel,
as well
so
as
like
the
some
novel.
crossovers between the two.
Absolutely. So of course we're going to be talking about Jim Carrey. He didn't just play Scrooge, as Jodie just mentioned. Through motion capture, he actually performed 8 different roles. So this is known. Polar Express, Tom Hanks did a very similar thing. But in this, he plays 8 roles. So we have Scrooge at the age of 7, 12, 18, 27 and 80. And all 3 ghosts, past, present and yet to come. So that's like a very varied set of characters. And also different times for Scrooge in terms of a character. So it's that's some real talent there. Jim Carrey also worked extensively with a dialect coach to perfect a very specific 19th century London accent that sounds distinct from his own natural voice. As you know, Jim Carrey's got a very distinct voice, but he can warp his face and his voice like crazy. He wanted Scrooge to sound pinched and cold, as if his throat was tight, like his wallet. So it's kind of like a little nod there, personification of his tightness, I suppose. But to play the ghost of Christmas Present, aka like the big sort of giant ghost, so the middle one that's like Father Christmas, Jim Carrey had to perform this while wearing weighted shoes and a massive harness to help him simulate the heavy, lumbering gait of a giant, whilst the digital cameras tracked his movements. So again, it's trying to make it as realistic as possible for the film. And actually, the film is divided into staves rather than chapters, just like the book. So it's kind of poetic almost, if you like. But director Robert Zemeckis insisted to do this to honour Dickens' original musical metaphor, aka a carol is a song, and songs have staves, and he wanted A Christmas Carol to essentially be like a carol in itself. Yeah. So it kind of is like a song.
That's really cool.
Interesting.
So just with one final little fact about the actual film itself, Jim Carrey actually wasn't the only one who was playing multiple roles in this film. The legendary Gary Oldman, who performed Bob Cratchit, actually performed Tiny Tim and Jacob Marley as well. And to play Tiny Tim, he actually had to move on his knees with his arms tucked in to simulate a child's proportions.
I mean, Gary Oldman's a legend anyway. Like,
he is, yeah.
He's been in so many roles. I mean, I can't really list them all. Obviously, you have Sirius Black. He was Dracula in Bram Stoker's Dracula. Commissioner Gordon in Dark Knight. You name it. But he's like, that's just to name a few. But he's
an amazing actor.
You know, they got a pretty stacked out cast, so it's worth watching just for like great performances alone.
Then we get to move into a little bit more about the actual novel itself. So Charles Dickens wrote the entire book in just 6 weeks, and that's from October to November in 1843. He was actually in desperate need of money because his previous book, Martin Chuzzlewit, was actually a financial failure, and his wife was pregnant at the time with their 5th child.
Ooh.
Also, while writing, Dickens actually reported walking 15 to 20 miles a night through the darkest back streets of London, and he said that the characters were so real to him that they spoke to him as he walked, sometimes making him weep or laugh out loud in public.
Can you imagine just going around back streets of London in Victorian times?
I think nowadays if he was doing that, he might be like taken to a hospital.
Yes, it's like the old memes of you're asking for directions in London type things.
Yeah. But also in London in the 19th century, that was a terrifying place to be.
Yeah.
Especially like the back streets and everything. Like, I'm surprised Dickens didn't get beat up.
Yeah, like Jack the Ripper and stuff sort of around that time.
Could have been Dick End instead of Dickens.
Dick Ended.
Yeah.
That sounds a bit wrong.
A bit wrong. Anyway, so Dickens eventually made more money from performing the story live than from actually selling the book. He would actually act out all of the voices on stage, and the physical strain of these high energy performance is often cited as a contributing factor to his early death at the age of 58.
I didn't know that.
Which is, that's like crazy. Imagine putting so much effort into your craft that it just like takes a toll on you like that.
More than takes a toll.
And not just that, but Dickens was actually so protective of the book's quality that he insisted on expensive gold stamped covers and hand-coloured illustrations. Because the production cost was so high, even though the book was a massive hit, there was actually very little profit from the first edition of it.
It's funny, it's so notorious and so famous, and it wasn't, wasn't very profitable for him.
No, it wasn't. But one of the many legacies that comes from this film is actually that the character of Tiny Tim was based on a real person who was actually Charles Dickens's own nephew, Harry Burnett, who was actually disabled and died quite young, as well as the children Dickens saw at the ragged schools, or which were also like the free schools for the poorest children in London.
I mean, a lot of these really great characters come from personal experiences, don't they? Instead of just coming out of the blue. A little trivia connection to the film, I thought was an interesting thing and something I did notice. In the 2009 film The Ghost of Christmas Past is a flickering candle. In the book, Dickens described this ghost as having a bright, clear jet of light springing from its head. Carey's version is one of the only films to use an extinguisher cap as the ghost's hat, exactly as it's described in 1843. And I know that this is that's quite a rare thing, because a lot of people change the way the Ghost of Christmas Past is perceived. Yeah. Actually, so it's an accurate adaptation. So yeah, definitely go and watch it.
Please go and watch
put it on your Christmas
it's
list of films to watch.
Or if you're not going to watch that, then just go and watch a Jim Carrey film.
Yes, go and watch a Jim Carrey film. But what is a Christmas film without Christmas music? That leads us very nicely.
Oh, and what is a Christmas carol without its carol?
Exactly. That's very good, actually.
Thank you.
Leading us very nicely onto our Shivering Soundtracks.
Going into our Shivering Soundtracks, obviously we're talking about the soundtrack of A Christmas Carol from Disney with Jim Carrey as Scrooge across his very many ages, as well as all of the ghosts in the film, like we just spoke about. And like we just said, what would be A Christmas Carol without its little carol? So speaking of the soundtrack for the 2009 version of A Christmas Carol, it was actually composed by a Mr. Alan Silvestri, marking his 13th collaboration with director Robert Zemeckis, which is wildly considered the most musically dense and traditional sounding scores in holiday cinema history.
Alan Silvestri is a legend. He really is. He did Back to the Future. He did Avengers.
Ooh.
He did the Avengers. Yep. Polar Express, which is one of my favourite. It is my favourite Christmas sound track. Yep, there's the Avengers there for you as well. But yeah, he's done an array of so many movies,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously like he's done like him and Robert Zemeckis are kind of like Christopher Nolan, Hans Zimmer, or Chris Nolan and Ludwig Göransson or whatever. So yeah, it sort of mashes up kind of set of original music, existing music, and a wide variety of different technical and sort of musical ideas. But Silvestri didn't just write original themes. He treated the score like a fantasia on sort of classic carols. So the main title theme is actually a complex medley that weaves together fragments of Deck the Halls, Good King Wenceslas, God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, and Hark the Herald Angels Sing. So it is it's quite erratic as far as from what I remember. It's quite like a big medley of different things mashed together. So it is like a Christmas carol, and it shows the madness.
Yeah.
So it's quite a nice way of doing it.
So basically, for any of you that are acquainted with the Drake meme of some madness, some badness, combination, that's basically what this is.
Drake.
This is the
Drake reference a Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
I doubt Drake actually knows what Christmas Carol is.
Yeah.
Dumbass. So while the film is completely full of festive music, Silvestri gave Scrooge a specific musical identity, i.e. a leitmotif.
Everybody loves a little leitmotif.
Yes. So when Scrooge is a miserable git, if you like, the music is very dissonant and sharp, featuring stabbing, or if you like, sort of staccato or spiccato, if you're going more into like musical terminology, string progressions and wandering violin solos performed by virtuoso René Mandel. So it's kind of traditional, but again, it kind of having violin solos, he's quite an isolated arsehole, if you ask me.
And for the kind of big end like title song, aka God Bless Us Everyone, the film's main original song was actually performed by the legendary Italian tenor Andrea Bocelli. And because the film was a global Disney release, Bocelli actually recorded the song not only in English but also in Spanish. So it's called the Dios nos bendecirá, and Italian, which is the Dio si benedira.
So some different names and some proper dedication there to making sure it's recorded in different languages. But the melody of the song isn't actually new. It's the exact same melody as the film's main title theme, but slowed down and turned into more of like a sweeping redemptive ballad, if you like. So again, it's sort of that circular sort of kind of redemption.
Cyclical narrative.
Yeah, so it's cyclical, and it sort of presents that sort of change of Scrooge's personality and his kind of character arc, if you like.
I also think it's kind of nice because with a lot of films like this, it like usually represents the growth of a character. So it's not necessarily saying that Scrooge as a person has completely had to like rip out his old life or his old ways or anything like that, but he's just had to learn and he's had to grow and develop them instead, just as the music has done as well, which I think is quite poetic in some sense.
It's very poetic. The score was performed by a very large 103-piece orchestra, which was the Hollywood Studio Symphony, and featured two separate choirs, one recorded in Los Angeles and the other at the famous Abbey Road Studios in London. And funny enough, there is actually a little Polar Express Easter egg, where if you actually listen closely to the track The Ghost of Christmas Past, Silvestri subtly quotes his own theme from the Polar Express, which is, like we said, another Zemeckis motion capture film, during the middle of the queue, which is funny. But it's all the music from the Polar Express is absolutely beautiful, like orchestral, choir, Christmas music. So no wonder he's put it in there, because it's, people like the Polar Express, some people don't, but the music is very, very, it gets you in the feels a lot. So no wonder he's used it in this.
Exactly. And talking about the feels of the music, obviously where we've mentioned that this version of A Christmas Carol has a slightly more like horror themed portrayal to it. Not only is that for the story and for the visuals, but it's also applying to the music as well. And that's because Silvestri actually used a Herman-esque like techniques, which like references Alfred Hitchcock's composer Bernard Herrmann, to make the scenes with Marley's ghost and the ghost of Christmas Yet to Come feel like a genuine horror movie, using screeching strings and really deep apocalyptic brass.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely frightened me when I first watched it.
Yeah.
When I was, how old was I? 7 when it came out.
6 or 7.
6 or 7, little reference there. But yeah, I mean, Bernard Herrmann is like the master of horror composing, in the sense that he is like, the Godfather, essentially, in the sense that he invented the classic Psycho like stuff. He is. There we go. He is the composer of Fear. He's the initial one. So, because it's a classic story, you're going to use some Bernard Herrmann stuff.
And speaking of creative geniuses, of course we're going to cycle back to Jim Carrey, where he is known obviously for his comedy, and also his like physical commitment to roles. During this one, he actually relied on the rhythm of the music during his motion capture performance, and that's because when he was working with the internal music of Scrooge's pinched voice, he actually used the timing to match Silvestri's score. So especially during the frantic like carriage chase scene, he would use the music to time his own speech and his own movements.
So it sort of turned into like a musical type thing, which, I mean, I think that's so cool. I mean, it's such a interesting way of portraying the character and portraying the fact, keeping on the sort of notion of it being a Christmas carol, this idea, like the idea of it being a song and stuff. So it's, again, it's genius all the way around. So go and watch any of the Christmas Carol films. If you've seen some of them but not this one, go and watch this one 100%. So it's accessible. So while it's perhaps not the most horror film on our Bad Boo Silver Scream list that we've listed out across our episodes so far, it's still frightening, and it's a great ghost story, because this episode is all about ghosts and spooky stuff. So yeah, please go and watch it. Let us know what you think. If you've seen it, let us know what you think. And it's a great adaptation, and it's very innovative, especially for its time.
It really is. And obviously going back to the classic Dickens novel, there's these like 4 actually animated ghosts coming back from the dead to haunt and terrorize what ends up being like poor Mr. Scrooge. So let's go into our ghostly gossip section, where we talk more about these festive revisitors.
So for our ghostly gossip, we are going to be talking about something in Welsh folklore.
Ooh.
So part of the UK, so we're kind of bringing it back to another part of the United Kingdom. So we've just come from London, we've gone all the way to Wales this time, and this is the spooky story folklore of a named Mari Lwyd.
AKA, if you're from Wales, I'm going to say Mari Lwyd.
Yeah, it's a very good Welsh accent, actually, to be honest.
Thank you.
Who is kind of considered to be a Christmas zombie of sorts. So that's kind of like a cool little... I mean, there's so many Christmas like folklore, but I thought this one was like unique.
Yeah.
Essentially, it is a tradition that takes place during the dark nights of late December and early January. And while it's now a festive custom, its origins are very eerie and skeletal. So, you'd like to tell us a little bit about it, Jodie?
Of course. So the Mari Lwyd isn't actually a person in a suit. It's a real horse's skull mounted on a pole. So the person carrying it is hidden under a heavy white sheet, and the skull's jaw is often rigged with a spring so it can clack its teeth loudly at people. And its eye sockets are sometimes filled with green glass or ribbons to make it look like it's alive and ghostly in the candlelight.
It's kind of like those toys that you get. Do you remember those like toys that you get at like, I used to get it at Black Gang Shine before years ago. You'd have seen them as well. Like on a stick, and you had like a trigger at the bottom, and you had like a face on the top.
It was like a T-Rex mouth.
Like a T-Rex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would like snap at the top.
It's kind of what it reminds me of.
They're like litter pickers,
Even though it's
but with like
completely not the same
heads on
thing.
them.
There's a litter picker with a head on it.
Or that scene in Ice Age: Dawn of the Dinosaurs when
Buck.
Oh
yeah, he's like
picks up the raptor skull with his hand.
Yes.
And he's like, "But they're all going to die in the chasm. No, we're not."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He's I love that film.
It's an
Is it
amazing film.
Dawn of the Dinosaurs, is it?
Yeah.
Called? Yeah. Oh, so the third one, isn't it?
On the floor, everybody walk the dinosaur.
I remember when that song was like massive
Yeah,
in like primary school.
Anyway, getting back to the Mary Lwyd.
Anyway, getting back.
Getting back to the Mary Lwyd.
We have like a nightmare visit where this Mary Lwyd would come and visit. The skeletal horse and its group of handlers would go from house to house in the dead of night.
Ooh. So they stand outside of your door and sing a song, kind of like carolers. However, they actually end up challenging the inhabitants to I'm going to say this word wrong because it's in Welsh, but a pwanco.
PWNCO. So if
AKA,
you're Welsh, please correct us, because you guys have got some crazy spelled names and words. It's wild.
However, this word is actually just translates to a battle of rhyming insults and riddles. If the homeowners...
It's an OG rap battle.
Yeah. Mary Lwyd versus homeowners. Begin. Okay, I'm going to stop that now.
There you go.
However, if the homeowners couldn't out-rhyme the skeleton, the Mary Lwyd is allowed to enter the house. Once inside, the quote-unquote grey mare runs rampant. It snaps its jaws at children, steals food and beer, and creates chaotic, frightening noises. And in ancient times, having the skeletal horse enter was a blessing for the new year, but for a child in a dark candlelit house, it was a terrifying encounter with a dead creature.
I just thought it was quite creepy. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like this thing that like kind of comes to the house, and like if you lose the rap battle, it enters.
You know, like the wither skeletons in Minecraft.
Yes.
When they spawn on like the skeleton horses.
Yes.
It sounds like if one of those like personified more into like a zombie type thing.
Yeah.
Still on the skeleton horse, and then came into your home, challenged you to a rap battle, and then tore your shit apart.
That just sounds like a wild day.
Yeah.
It sounds like a weird hallucination or some sort of drug or something.
Yeah. There's been a lot of hallucinating in this episode.
There's a lot of hallucinating. But yeah, that's kind of like the Mary Lwyd in a nutshell. So if you thought that was kind of cool, I mean, we think it's kind of weird.
It is very weird.
But it's very unique. So we kind of thought it was like
so creepy though. That's like terrifying.
Yeah, we kind of thought it was
and
like
also,
a nice...
horses are massive.
They are.
Could you imagine that just running around the flat?
It wouldn't fit.
It wouldn't fit.
Break down the walls.
Whose horse is that?
The walls. If you're a Rick Grimes impression there. But we'll leave the link in the description to more about the Mary Lwyd if you're interested in looking more about that.
And also, if you're listening from Wales, have you encountered this Christmas zombie before? Has a horse run round your house before?
We hope not to.
On a rampage? Let us know.
We really hope not. But that leads us talking about some things that we probably don't recommend, i.e. having like horses run around your house and doing rap battles with zombies. These are some things that we do recommend in our spooky spotlight.
Coming into our spooky spotlight, we are going to provide you guys with some like Christmas carol adaptations that we like, some Christmas movie recommendations, and all the festive things that you can sink your teeth into this upcoming holiday week.
So obviously, as we said, this is our last episode that will be released before Christmas. Our next episode will actually come out on Boxing Day.
Yes.
So we're hoping. Actually, no. Our next episode will actually come out on the 27th. So it'll be the day after Boxing Day. So these are some, I think really we're going to talk more about Christmas movie recommendations, but we'll talk about basically just say go and watch any Christmas Carol adaptation for one. But there's one that I particularly recommend, which is digestible, it's funny, it's great. So we just want to end the episode on a bit of a lighter note, seeing as Christmas is around the corner. We don't want it to be all gloomy.
No. Scrooge brings enough gloom as it is.
Very much so. Very highly recommend. Probably the best version adaptation of A Christmas Carol, which is A Muppet Christmas Carol, which has got the legendary Michael Caine.
Mine Irish Michael Caine.
I know I am a nosy neighbour. Plays Ebenezer Scrooge, and it's probably one of his best performances, funnily enough. But it's insanely iconic, and perhaps more iconic than the story itself in today's world, actually. But like they play on words with the character names, sort of more of a musical type thing. But it's really brilliant. I'd be surprised if you haven't seen a Muppet Christmas Carol. But it's one of my favourite films ever, really.
And also, just a quick shout out to Ben, Sam's brother.
Ben, yes.
Because that is his goated Christmas favourite film ever.
He goes nuts.
And he doesn't even play it just at Christmas. He plays it all year round because he loves it so much.
He loves it so much.
Yeah.
It is nuts.
And rightfully so, because it's just amazing.
Muppet Christmas Carol is amazing, and if you're by Cineworld cinemas, I think other cinemas probably be doing it as well. But our local one is at Cineworld. Muppet Christmas Carol is one of the Christmas movies that they are showing for like £2. Like Gremlins, which as we mentioned in our last episode. Muppet Christmas Carol is one of the films, so go and watch it.
Yeah.
Please go and watch it. It is funny, it is heartwarming, it's a great way of telling the story. What better way to tell it through the Muppets?
I know. And Kermit the Frog is in it.
Kermit the Frog, Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear, Gonzo, Rizzo, you name it. So that's like a Christmas Carol / Christmas movie recommendation. I mean, obviously, I'd recommend very much The Polar Express as a Christmas movie. If you go down the lines of Robert Zemeckis, it's kind of got that creepy, spooky vibe as an undertone, but it is very festive and it's a very lovely film. And the music is personally what makes it for me.
And if you're looking for one that's friendly for kids, there is also a Sesame Street version of A Christmas Carol.
Is there? I didn't know that. Because if you don't know, if you've been, how do you not know Sesame Street if you don't? But Sesame Street is basically the more children's version of the Muppets, if that makes sense. And I know the Muppets isn't adult, but it's full of innuendos and things like that. So the Muppets is kind of more of a family thing of older children / adults. I mean, everyone loves the Muppets, really.
Yeah.
But Sesame Street is basically got your Elmo and Big Bird and Grover and Oscar the Grouch and all those type of characters. So yeah, that's one.
Yeah.
I had no idea there's a Sesame Street Christmas Carol.
Yeah, and for my girlies out there is also a Barbie version of the Christmas one, which I remember watching as a kid.
Hell.
And that's obviously amazing. So if you're into Barbie, if you watch the one about the Pegasus, then you're gonna love the one about Christmases. So go and watch the one about Christmas. And also,
I'm not watching that.
There is the Doctor Who episode.
Yes, there is.
The Christmas Carol episode.
Yes, that is that John Hurt plays Scrooge, I think, in that.
Yes, I think so.
As far as I'm aware.
It's the one with Matt Smith.
Yes, I'm sure it's... No, it's not John Hurt, is it?
I'm not quite sure.
Or is it... No, it's Michael... John Hurt plays one of the other doctors, doesn't he? In that special episode. I think it's Michael Gambon who plays Dumbledore. I think. Yeah, I might be wrong, but that's another recommendation. Yeah, how could I forget that? And other Christmas movies, The Grinch, Jim Carrey.
Yes, you have to watch The Grinch.
It's amazing.
The Grinch is one of my favourite... Actually, no, my favourite Christmas film ever.
It's so good. It's it's funny and it's witty and it's full of innuendos. It's amazing. Other Christmas movies, probably would recommend Home Alone. of course, Home Alone 1 and 2. Don't watch the others. They're shit. Home Alone 1 and 2, amazing. They're so funny.
They are really, really funny.
Yeah, brilliant movies. If you haven't seen, I mean, I'd be surprised if anybody listening, if you haven't seen any of the films that we're recommending. Again, yeah, Home Alone is particularly a masterpiece in filmmaking anyway, and comedy, but it is an amazing Christmas movie in itself.
There's also the Mickey Mouse Christmas films.
I think I've seen those, but
which
a very long time ago.
Which are really, really good. I remember there's the one where Pluto gets sent to the North Pole because he gets mistaken for a reindeer. Like he jumps on a train because Mickey's mean to him. And he runs away to the North Pole and he gets turned into Rudolph. Yeah. That's amazing. There's also the one with Dappy Duck where he's basically Scrooge. And then there's also the one about Mickey and Minnie when they go ice skating. But there's like a trilogy of them and they're amazing. They're so good. Yeah. Yeah.
I think I've seen those, but a very long time ago.
And also, while we're on the subject of kids things, frankly, the Bob the Builder Christmas special is impeccable. Yes. It's amazing.
Yes. I think Jodie watched that for the first time around my house, like my family house.
Yes, I did.
Recently.
Also, just to specify, with the Mickey Mouse one, it's Twice Upon a Christmas. That is my favourite one. Right. So, there's that.
Other recommendations, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is hilarious. That's another one to 100% watch. Love Actually is a very good Christmas film.
Love Actually is amazing. Arthur Christmas is actually quite good.
Arthur Christmas, I do like Arthur Christmas very much so.
I know that it's not necessarily a Christmas film, but I believe it does have
Gremlins is another one.
Gremlins, obviously Gremlins.
Last episode.
But Guardians, have you seen Guardians?
Rise of the Guardians.
Yes, Rise of the Guardians.
It's got like Father really Christmas and Jack Frost in it, and whatnot. There's Elf. How could I forget Elf? That's another complete classic. Will Ferrell is in that.
There's also like the Santa Claus with Tim Allen. I watched that all the time when I was a kid.
Santa Claus, that's really good. The first two, I think, are decent.
Also, The Holiday. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but if you want something a bit more like
Hans Zimmer actually made the music to that.
And not so serious.
I didn't realise that.
It's a very, very good film.
I'm trying to think now.
I've just got that scene from Home Alone stuck in my head of the Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life.
A very good film.
Yes, that is.
I remember seeing it many a year ago and thinking, oh my god, what is the bloody point of this?
Scrooged is another one that's got what's his name? Bill Murray.
Yes.
And it's kind of like a modern retelling of Christmas Carol.
Actor. He's so good.
It's so funny. Yeah. It's a really good adaptation, so highly recommend watching Scrooged.
Yeah. If you do want like a little bit of a more romantic one, it was released, I believe, by Netflix, but this was just when they started to release their own films, so it's one of those slightly cheesier ones. But Last Christmas is actually really good.
I've seen that.
Hits you right in the feels.
A good, what's her name?
Emilia
Clarke, yes.
Yes, she's actually a really, really great actress, I think. She's one of my favourite actresses.
She's really good. Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes, of course. Nightmare Before Christmas.
I mean, that's like a Halloween and a Christmas film, so it's very unique, but it is a Christmas film.
Yeah,
it is. Because they kidnap Mr. Santa Claus, don't they? Jack Frost.
Jack Frost used to scare me when I was a kid.
Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
We can go on. We'll literally be going on for ages. We're not going to list every single Christmas movie.
No, we won't. But we could.
But there's probably some I've missed.
And obviously, for those that, obviously, because our next episode is going to come just after Christmas, if you want a little bit of a horror recommendation, go and watch Krampus.
Yes.
Whether you like it or not is an entirely different story, but go and watch it so you have context for the next episode.
So you have context and you might know a little bit about it, because that might just be our silver screen for the next episode. But we will leave it there for Christmas movie recommendations. Because, like I say, we can go on for a very long time.
We can, but just before we go, I want to ask a question.
Oh, a question.
Is Die Hard a Christmas film?
There's the debate. If you are listening, leave it in the comments below. Because some people say it is, because it's a Christmas party. It's in the office. There's tinsel they use. There's all this stuff. But has it got the tropes of a Christmas film?
Or is it just set at Christmas?
Yes, one of my cousins particularly will be upset by this, but no, I don't think it is. But that is my opinion. But
with that, we come to the close of today's episode.
We do indeed. So, if you have festively made your way through tonight's humbug of an episode, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for Bad Boo updates and new episodes, as there's plenty more frights, flicks and folklore to come.
You can also haunt us on socials at Bad Boo Productions, where you can interact and leave suggestions for future episodes or contribute through polls and posts.
If you're after more creepy content, then our Patreon is live. So if you'd like to hear and even see more of us, then head over there for exclusive Boo Crew videos, stories and live streams.
That's all from us for this caroling episode today. We have been your haunted hosts, Sam and Jodie, unravelling the dark so that you don't have to. So wishing you all a very Merry Christmas and a happy holidays to everybody listening.
Be safe and
please
look
be
after
safe.
each other and
eat lots of food.
Yes. And
enjoy yourselves.
Just have a nice time, a relaxing time.
Yes. And don't think about any of the stresses of the world for a little while. Just enjoy your time with your family, watch some cool films, and let us know if Die Hard is a Christmas film or not.
Please.
But until next time, keep your lights on, your doors locked, and remember, the shadows are never